everyone. Welcome back to Virtual Collage Jam, the first one for the fall of 2023. Hope you have all had an awesome summer. And as I mentioned in one of the emails, Kim won't be joining us because she's madly at work on her show, which we start installing a week today. Gulp. We had a good friend of hers, Jen, over for 3 days in a row, and she helped us a ton with a whole bunch of work. So now it's only a scary amount left instead of a terrifying amount left. So it always works out in the end. So we'll keep going. This morning I was pinning together long rows of safety pins for one of her works. So stay tuned for that. So that is Burnt Offerings at Station Gallery. When does that? It opens on the opening day, and the opening are the same day, which is Saturday, October 14th. The opening starts at 1 p.m. So, and Station Gallery Whitby is a 5-minute walk from the Whitby GO station. So you don't have to even drive across the GTA to get there. But welcome back for some collaging, and because I'm flying solo, I will be pausing to look at the comments. I see you guys are busy. Thank you. Hey Joy, nice to have you back. She says, from windy and drizzly Salt Spring Island, but the roses are still out in full bloom. And we have gorgeous weather here. Not to rub your nose in it, but you guys usually have the gorgeous weather. So Toronto's been having a really nice run of beautiful, mild, but low humidity, sunny, gorgeous weather. So nice to have that for a change. Hello, Philippa. Great to have you back. Thank you for coming back. All the great collagers are coming out of the woodwork. Yay! Philippa says she's not able to be creative today as we're in the process of moving. Oh, I'm sorry, Philippa. Moving is always a trial, isn't it? It's surrounded by boxes. Yes. If we were moving, we would be surrounded even more than usual by boxes. Oh, yeah. Good luck, Philippa. And yeah, it's nice to have you back. And yeah, just chill and listen and look as long as you can afford, and maybe just have us on in the background. And while you maybe pack boxes, or while you sit on boxes and chill, take a little break. Jane, our hardest of hardcore people, is here with us. She says, I feel for you, Philippa. We recently moved as well. Good luck. Hello, everyone. Nice to be back. Nice to have you back, Jane. Welcome back. Yay. Ricky is joining us from Philadelphia. Awesome. She says, hi, everybody. Good to be here. Greetings from Philadelphia. Abigail, welcome back. Yay. Hi, Cal. Great to see you. Great to hear your voice and know that you're there. That's awesome. And hey, Kathleen, that's awesome. I'm glad you could make it. It's really, really great. Yeah. Kim said she might stick her head in at some point, but she looked in the mirror and thought she looked a fright. So she was not sure she was going to do that, but you never know. She might change her mind. So we'll cross our fingers. Judy, hey, welcome back. Awesome. Yeah, it's nice to have some of the oldies but goodies back. And I've got a couple of things to pass along, and then you guys can get your collage going already. I hope you have some ideas for negative space. I'm winging it. I didn't come up with any ideas. I just figured it's a principle I'm quite familiar with, so I'll just chance it. So, but before we get to that, a couple of things I want to tell you about. One is, I am going to have at least 4 or 5 pieces, maybe even 6 pieces at Fashion Art Toronto, which is the sort of longest running fashion show. They do one for the fall, winter, and one for the spring, summer. And when I was at the Artist Project in April, they had a small runway show as part of it, as part of the opening night. And I approached one of the organizers and I said, I do sort of my collages use a lot of fashion imagery, and here are a few. Would you be keen? And they said yes. So yes, they've said yes. So I'm going to have several collages printed 46 inches high, so almost 4 feet high, which is awesome. And they will be Fashion Art Toronto. I went this spring, and it's set up like the runway shows are fairly expensive, at least especially on an artist budget. But they have what they call a fashion playground, which is it's $30 or something like that to get into that, and it's got vendors, some displays, some fashion films, and so on. So and one or two runway shows that are on a runway in that space that you can see. So that was the budget option, and they also have art displays each time, which is kind of cool of art that has some connection to fashion. So so I'll be in that. I'm so excited. And the other thing, and this is a little further ahead, but Quest Art, which is in Midland. So those of you guys who are north of the city, I'm going to have a solo show there starting in August. So looking forward to that. So I've been sending out applications to different things, and some of them have, as usual, some didn't go and some did. And those are a couple that did. So yeah. So Abigail says, no ideas. Still thought that it was a good mindset for a negative space. The negative space between our ears, right? A blank slate, as it were. That's kind of how I feel, because I definitely, my head has been elsewhere, but I just figured I'd arrive here and start playing with it. So yeah. So Jane, yes, sorry. The dates for Fashion Art Toronto are November 16th through 19th, and I think that's a Thursday night through Sunday. And it's at 131 McCormick Street in the Junction neighborhood. And then it's kind of like a sort of a mixed area. Like there's some auto body places, and then there's just like a neighborhood. A neighborhood and park nearby, and it's some sort of a repurposed warehouse type building, but it's very cool actually. So yeah, definitely recommend it. Hey, Lisa Kemp is here. Welcome back, Lisa. I hope you had a good summer. She says, hi everyone, good to be back. It is good to be back. And Philippa, as you probably heard, it's at 131 McCormick. I think it has a name. I'm just trying to remember whether it's referred to as 131 Cormac or whether there's Cormac or whether there's another. But I will definitely be sending out an email about it. But hold those dates if definitely if fashion is of interest to you, it's worth checking out. Anne, hey Anne, how are you? Awesome. She says, hi Cal, great to see you again. I'm starting to think positive thoughts about negative space. I ever since I got taught about negative space, I loved that concept, and it's so important to not all, because there are some works that don't have a figure ground relationship, don't have something in the foreground to have things behind them, but a lot do, and sort of being aware of, like, if you have a subject, what's in the space around it, or what shape is that, what color is it, what textures, what shows in it. Yeah, it's all, it makes it, an awareness of that makes everything so much better. And hey Cherie, yay. Cherie says, hello fellow jammers, miss the creative company. Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad to be back. I won't be starting my actual classes until the week after Kim's install. Actually, it's the second week of Kim's install. We didn't realize we'd have 2 weeks to install it, which is good, not a little less rushed. But I'm not starting until the first week of October. But I thought I'd start the jam before then, because I wanted to get some get that sort of collage connection and hang out with you guys a little bit, blow a little of the rust off of doing some work and getting some creative community. So yeah. Hey Annie, welcome back. She says, hi, glad to see you, Cal, and hear everyone else. Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, so yes, so Philippa, yes, the show north of Toronto will be at Quest Art in Midland. So I'm not sure I mentioned Quest Art. I just said Midland, so I apologize. Quest Art is somewhere where Kim and I have both taught, both in person pre-COVID, and we taught for them during the pandemic. I think Kim taught them for them. I don't think I did. During the pandemic virtually. And yeah, they're a nice little community. It's like a all-in-one kind of creative place. They've got like a performance space, they've got galleries, they've got classes. So yeah, it's quite a nice happening little place up there. And I know they have quite good shows, and so I'm really delighted. Kim actually also got I don't know what her dates are, but she also got accepted. So we both applied and we both got accepted. So that's awesome. and Philippa, that show starts, I think it's August 22nd and runs till near the end of September. So it's like about a 1 month run. So not surprisingly, I'm going to be showing Collage. Exactly what, I don't know. We'll see how the next few months, but you can bet decollage is going to factor into it, and fashion is going to factor into it. All right, so as you may have guessed or may have seen from around my surroundings, I'm in my studio. So I'm going to turn off the camera briefly because I'm going to have to wrestle it into position. And then I'll pop over and we'll go overhead and we'll get busy. And meanwhile, in the comments, let us know what sort of, and you don't have to have any ideas yet, but if you have a sort of a plan, like I'm thinking this and I'm thinking that to play with negative space, let us know. And next time I'm going to be going back and forth between working and checking comments. So yeah, let me know what you're thinking. Okay, so going black for just about a half a minute. But we're still here. We're still here, audio. I just need to get this camera on the arm. I got all set up and thought, okay, everything's great. And then I remembered that with YouTube, I can't switch from one camera to another the way I can with Zoom. I can't have more than one camera source, so it has to be the same one. So let me just fine tune that position a little bit. There we go. Sorry if I'm making you seasick, just trying to get it reasonably square. And everything's wrong way around for me. So there we go. Close enough for rock and roll, right? So, you know me. I'm going to go looking through my fashion magazines for things that I can cut out to make negative and positive relationships with. Something that Kim and I have both done in figurative classes is, when we're teaching, is get people to consider to play games with the negative space, because when you're figure drawing, I mean, negative space happens in all kinds of work, right? But it's definitely a big factor in figurative work, because especially when we're learning to draw the figure or working with the figure, all of our attention is on the figure, right? So we don't think about the space around it and where we've situated the pose on the page, or are those interesting negatives. And those of us who are fortunate enough to work with models, not that I am, in this way, where you can direct them. You can say, could you just move your arm like that, or so on. But in those cases, then you can fine tune things, right? Like, oh, could you just move your arm closer to your body so that negative is skinnier, or stuff like that. So, but just about any kind of work, even non-objective work, can have a figure ground relationship. Anytime you have something that's sort of recognizable and has sort of a shape to it, right? Like these scissors. We have the scissors, and then we have the space that's around it. So we have the negatives through them, but around them as well. Sometimes with that non-objective work, you don't have that discernment. but often you do, even if it's not imagery. So, but not surprisingly, because you guys know me, I am going to be playing with negative space with figures. And so I'm just going to go looking for, this piece already has some nice negatives, but you never know where I might take it. This one's fun with the her wearing the floral, and then the background also having sort of white on white ornate aspects. But I'm looking at shapes. And one thing that's great is you can change, if you find a really good figure, or a good shape, and figures are good shapes often, you can change from the negatives from the way they are in your reference material or from the way you see them to be maybe better or more interesting as you do your change the frame, the kind of shape you put them into, the frame. For instance, putting more space on the side or less space on the side, cropping or adding space. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go grab a bunch of figures and then see where we go. So graphic, eh? And that one, boy, he's got good hamstring flexibility, I'll tell you. Better than me. My leg won't go that high or that straight. And certainly not straight at that high. So what are you guys looking at playing with? Are you working non-objectively? Are you working with figures? Are you working with other subjects? Let me know in the comments and I will check in with you in a couple of minutes. This is fun. Even houses can have negative spaces. This one has some interesting negative spaces, so I might. And interesting when you can have negatives within negatives, right? When you sort of like looking through a window, but then there's another thing that's got a sort of a negative space in behind. And oftentimes we can pick to some extent what a negative is, right? Some are obvious, but sometimes it's like, is the path a negative here? Or are the flower beds negatives, right? So you could actually flip them. But I think as I read it, the path is more obviously a negative, but sometimes going for a less obvious is fun too. So. This one, we've got the negative spaces around the figures and then through the window panes behind them and then through the windows behind the windows. So layers and layers and layers of them. Negative spaces of shadows too. That's fun. That's pretty complicated though. Not sure I'm ready to start at the deep end with crazy cutting. So I might just keep it simpler than that for the time being. So, excuse me. Also, let us know. I hope you had an excellent summer, and let us know if you did art during the summer, whether you took a break from doing art, or how your summer was from an art making point of view. There's no right, there's no wrong. Some people say, oh, I didn't do a thing all summer. And it's like, yeah, good. That means you'll be nice and fresh when the fall comes, right? And some people, oh yeah, I really put the hammer down and it was great. And now I'm tired. And so, either way is good, right? There's no shame. I had a bit of both. I had some, I taught a couple of weeks in Halliburton, which was awesome. Really good classes. And I did a little work before and after that and during them. And then I actually made my work more about looking for opportunities for my work. So like sending in applications and stuff like that. And so I haven't really had much of what I'm getting now as hands-on play. So I'm hungry for it because I've had some ideas, and not that I'll pursue them in this class, but I'll get my hands busy again, which is always good. Blow a little of the rust off, and then I'll be sort of in a better place to when I am ready to work with those ideas. I also have some nice negatives between the shadows and the figures themselves. Too bad she's across the spine, because there's some nice. Now, try it anyway, right? Might be interesting to have a little break in the image. All right, I think I've got enough to get started with. I'll just check in with what you guys are saying. So Lisa says she's drawing today instead of collaging. Working on a portrait of my niece for her birthday. Oh, that's lovely. That's awesome. Abigail's still looking. And Abigail asks, can I say something about my recent book? She loves it. Thank you, Abigail. That's very nice of you to say. I think the only book I have is in a still in its cellophane. So, but I will say briefly that I still have some available. You can order them on my website. I'm not sure how many collages. I think there are 24 different collages, and each, I might as well open it up so you can see it. I did show the book a little bit in the spring, I believe, but it's a nice sort of matte finish cover. It's got these nice vellum pages, inside front covers. It's got a little background on me and my process. And then each collage is shown zoomed in and full size. So you can, not smaller, but so you can see the whole collage. And it's got, it's all work that's happened in the last 3 years. So it is all quite recent work. Most of it is fashion oriented, not pretty much everything actually, because that's my thing. Some of it's more blatantly so and some less so, and there's some more complex work and there's some cleaner, simpler work. But the reproductions are really awesome. I sweated blood to make sure the the scans were really good. And Picto, who print books in Toronto for photographers, did the printing, and they did an absolutely great job of the printing. So yeah, so that's something I'm really proud of. I think it's $55 right now on my website. So if you're interested, but it was a really great, Kim suggested that I do that. She said, if you're going to do the artist project, you should have a book. And I thought that'd be great. I don't see how I could ever get it done in time. And she said, I will lay it out for you. And she did. And I'm so grateful because it's really, really great. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to, not everyone can afford to buy art or has space for art, but lots of people who like my work, like, oh, now I can have like a book of it. So, and everyone who's seen it says that they're really pleased. They're amazed at how good the print quality is, and I agree. It's really awesome. All right, so getting back to Joy says she's dusting off her old magazines to start with. Yes, exactly. Sort of blowing the rust off ourselves and our materials. Lisa says she spent the summer working on some clay sculpture and digital collages. Ooh, getting back into the 3D and then doing some digital collages. Also took a workshop in jelly printing and one in wet felting. Fun. Wow, yeah, that's a nice range of stuff that you had cooking, Lisa. Sort of 2D, 3D, digital, hands-on, the real, like those four, there's quite a range of stuff. Hey, Val, welcome back. Yay. A little late, but here now, Val says. So yeah, that's great having you back. Welcome back. Hope you had a good summer. And Annie says, I love your book. It's on my, well, thank you, Annie. It's on my reading side table, and each time I open it, I see something I hadn't noticed before. That's very sweet of you to say, Annie. And I do like work that reveals itself gradually when you notice things that you didn't notice before. That's not to say that all my collages are like that. Some are very like simple and bold, and that's fun too. But I do like work that sort of, you notice stuff after the fact, right? It sort of reveals itself more gradually. So and that's kind of what I feel like with the day collages, where there's sometimes this little snippet that you hadn't noticed before. So Anne Lakoff says, the book of your work is fantastic. I love the zoomed in shots. Yeah, that was also my wife's idea to show she's a smart one, to zoom in so that you can get a really good look at the textures. So this one can have a negative space in between as well. That's pretty funny. Let's start with her then, seeing as she's at the top of the pile. Last cutout, first cutout. Those of you who have taken some of my collage courses may recall an exercise that I have people do where I have them have students cut out several things, just whatever they are, objects, people, animals, and keep both the positive shapes and the negative shapes. So even if you're cutting something off, keep the negatives as well as the positives, and then to compose using both. And that's, I got new glasses, and I have computer glasses, and I have bifocals. And now that I'm cutting, and it's a little closer, I need my bifocals. There we go. Much better. But yeah, composing with the negatives can be a lot of fun, because again, it's something that we don't pay enough attention to, but then you can, because especially if the shape is quite recognizable, that have been cut out from around, you get this sense of what was there, but it isn't there anymore. So there's this absence presence thing, which can be really quite compelling. And you know, when you're drawing or painting, being aware of negatives is equally important. But with collage, you can actually pick them up and hold them and move them, right? So that's actually this additional level of engagement with them. So, which, you know, that's that thing you just can't do. Pick up and move stuff around with paint and drawing the way you can with collage. But I mean, there I can hold the negative, right, and look at it and see the shape that it is. Whereas when it's on the paper or canvas, when you've drawn or painted it, it's there. You can't move it around. Such smooth lines in this model. This model has very smooth lines. Her hair has very smooth lines. Her clothing has smooth lines. Not a lot of, it's all very clean and tidy. How often do we see hair where it's all so carefully, not a hair out of place? Certainly not my hair. Never looks like that. What's left of it. Yeah, the only thing I can see is maybe the sort of tread of the soles have much in the way of detail. Not that I'm complaining, it does make it easier to cut. And often those more complex shapes have more character. Oh, we'll see where this goes. So Ricky says the Philadelphia Collage Works had a group show at Da Vinci Art Alliance organized around the theme of Block Party, and she participated in the show. It was well attended, and I learned a lot about a lot. That's awesome, Ricky. Congratulations, first of all, and that's great. Yeah, sort of finding collage community is great. Now that things are opening up a little bit. I mean, they've been opening up for a while, right? But people are starting to do things in more events now, and having one-on-one conversations in front of actual work. It's such a treat. So yeah, that's great. And also to get the affirmation that I know you're relatively new to collage, but you're very good at it, and it's great to have that sort of affirmed by getting into shows. Did anyone else enter some juried shows and get into some shows that they're happy about? Have some show news to share? Please feel, collage or otherwise, feel free to share it in the chat. I obviously spoke too soon about the simple silhouette now that I'm at the soles of the boots. Well, the soles are, they're not crazy, but they're a little bit busier. And how about summer, guys? What did you do during the summer? Asked about art making, but what about other fun stuff that you got up to? We didn't go away or anything like that this summer. Kim's been really heavily focused on getting her show ready, so she didn't want to go anywhere far afield, so we didn't. One thing I did that I really enjoyed was my brother and I both like cycling, and I said to him, because I used to be a competitive cyclist and I used to be sort of more, I used to be harder core. I'm a softie now, but I said, you know, really what I want is like a nice bike ride that involves lots of stops at cafes and so on like that. And so it sounds like we have a guest.
Sounds like you're doing great without me. Who needs Kim?
Well, hello there, Kim.
Hello.
I'm afraid that the camera's on the overhead, so if
that's fine.
If you want to stick your head under the camera and wave hi, you can certainly do that.
It's a little scary for me to be too close to the camera. Can you see me on the camera?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
You saw it here first. So how is show prep coming, Kim?
Well, I thought I would stop in and say hi. I'm switching activities, so that seemed like the perfect time to come in.
What have you been doing, and what are you switching to
I've been doing surface prep on the top house portion of the sculpture piece.
Right.
And it's now outside drying in the big open air studio outside.
Right, yep.
And I'm about to switch to papier-mâché.
Awesome.
Doing some more of that. And I also wanted to make sure that, because not everybody who comes to Virtual Collage Jam is a subscriber to my newsletter. So just in case anybody's in the GTA in October or November, I wanted to share the info, which is Burnt Offerings is the exhibition, October 14th to November 25th at Station Gallery in Whitby, Ontario, which is walking distance from the GO station in Whitby, which is, I know a number of people in the Western GTA are going to take the GO train. And the opening reception is Saturday, October 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. And I will, of course, be there, as will Kal, because if he's not there, I won't be there. He's my ride. So anyway, we start install next week, and it's a bit of a nail biter, I'm here to say. But thanks to our wonderful friend Jennifer Wilson Bridgman, also an artist. Wow, she gave us 3 solid days, and I can't believe how far we moved ahead. I'm so relieved.
We've gone from being terrified to just being scared, right?
Yeah, because the energy management is a real issue this year after the surgery and all that. It's still a big issue. So anyway, things are going well.
Awesome.
Kal's doing an amazing job on a big piece we have strung out between trees in the backyard. If you're on Instagram, take a look. I've got some sneak peeks. I just posted a reel on the piece that was working on before I came here.
Cool.
And you're working on negative spaces, am I right?
I am.
Cool.
We are. Some of us are. Those of us who are whoever's working with the prompt is working with negative spaces. Cool. Exactly.
Cool.
So we're having a positive effect on each other.
Excellent. Powering up. Getting a charge out of each other.
That's right. I should read comments because Abigail says, looking through LCBO Food and Drink magazine, great classes to cut out. Absolutely. And Abigail says, hi, Kim, great close-up.
Hi, Abigail.
Judy says, hi, Kim, great to see you.
Hi, Judy.
Cherie says, hey, Kim, good to see you. I'm loving following your show prep on Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
Ricky says, good to see you, Kim.
Hi,
Lisa
Ricky.
says, good to see you, Kim.
Hi, Lisa.
Annie says, hi, Kim, nice glasses.
Thanks, Annie.
Joy says, hi, Kim, great to hear all your news. And Jane says,
thank you, Joy.
Summer went by way too swiftly. Spend as much time outside as possible, walking, cycling the Martin Goodman Trail, not much art making, just getting new art room set up. Awesome.
Well, that's awesome.
And she says, hey, Kim, nice to see you too. So
nice to see you, Jane, in a manner of speaking.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll leave you now. And
well, Godspeed. I know you need it.
For my papier-mâché. Yep. So have fun.
We will. Thank you for stopping by.
See you later, everybody.
Right. Take care.
See you in the group.
That's right. And for those of you who don't know what she was referring to by see you in the group, she's referring to our Collage Jam group on Facebook. And come to mention that, I haven't been there in a while, so I should make sure that there are no new people awaiting joining. And I'm also looking forward to seeing what you guys have posted. I should have gone there beforehand to see, because some of you probably posted stuff from the summer. So mea culpa. I've had my head pretty strongly in Kim help prep land. So I really haven't been up for air much else in the last little while. So so forgive me if I haven't taken a look, but I will. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is cut out, I'll cut out a couple of figures, and then I might start using negatives and positives, intermingling them to see what happens between the two. So, who knows, right? One way to find out. I gotta figure out, see which edge is which here. I'm going to follow the shoe, not the ankle. There we go. They're very similar values to the background. But Jane, that sounds like a really great summer, I have to say. I wish I got outside more, but something that's been great is some of the work that I've been doing for Kim's show the last few days has needed to be outside because it's a larger scale, and also the weather's just been so beautiful. So that's been a real boon, actually, to be able to be outside a little more. And obviously, being September and all, don't know how much longer we're going to have really lovely days like this, right? So they're more precious as we get towards the end of the summer winds up. Every so often I come to a spot where the value of the background and the value of the clothing is so similar. It's hard to make out where one ends and the next begins. Especially even if I have a little bit of cast shadow where I'm working. Just one tiny little negative here. What do you think what do you think the odds are I'm gonna lose this little piece at some point? I'm sure I am. Tiny little negative. I'm not even gonna worry about it. It's so small, I'm gonna lose it. Not so the other negative, hopefully. The other one under the arm is certainly big enough that I shouldn't lose track of that. Again, with the tricky values. So, are you guys working? I know some of you are doing Lisa's drawing, and is anyone doing digital collages today? Or Abigail, are you working digitally today, or hands-on? I mean, of course, your hands are on your device too. I understand that. All right, I've got big figures and small paper. I'm wondering if I might have some bigger paper to work with. Kind of feel like these might be worth trying on something a little bit bigger. Abigail says, no, just handsy. Nothing wrong with handsy. I always flip them over, as you guys know, to just see, just in case there's something interesting on the back. This one's maybe not so much. We'll have to see what our other girl yields. It can never hurt. Like, actually on like a darker background, this one would be kind of fun. They're both seated poses, different scales. So there's some, that is kind of fun, isn't it? So maybe maybe I shouldn't have been so hasty about dissing that one. On the other side of this girl. That's so fun right there. What happens if we just use negatives? Probably not enough, because they're it's such a simple pose. And I've lost track of my under the knees negative, which isn't a good thing. Let's see if it's hiding here. Sorry, I just realized there that I'd gone silent as I was thinking. So sorry about that. I do that from time to time. That's when Kim can come in handy. I'm out of practice for narration, so good to get back at it. You know, I haven't got that much on my desk, unlike so often with my collages, so I'm not sure. I'm looking on the floor. I'm sure you guys can relate, right? There it is. Probably not end up needing it, but it's good to have it in case. I've picked up a cold. I think my third since the spring, which is frankly annoying and ridiculous. Now that we're supposedly past the worst of COVID, fingers crossed, and then I'm going to public things without masks, I'm picking up all kinds of colds. So that tells you something right there, doesn't it? Didn't have any colds through for 2 years through COVID. Had plenty else to worry about, but not colds. And now I am dealing with colds. So right now I'm just playing around without really much at all in the way of expectation because I know it's been a while since I was doing this, so I'm just trying things, not worrying too much, seeing what tickles my fancy, if anything, because sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. I'm doing my best not to worry unduly about whether it's just knowing that the more I play with it, the more my brain will start to warm up a little bit and start noticing things. It's been in a very different mindset in terms of I've been basically in a sort of a craft mindset, and by that I mean just focused on how to make things instead of the sort of ideas or the like what do I mean by that? Because when I'm working on stuff for Kim, she has a very clear idea of what she wants, and so for me it's just like, okay, well, what materials and what methods shall I use to do that to the best to meet her goals. And we discuss everything, right? Because she'll often have ideas about that and I'll have ideas, but all of that to say that that is a process whereby she's driving the bus and I'm like, okay, well, this thing we're making, we could do it this way or that way. And she'll say, no, not that way because of this and more like this. And so it's not a coming up with stuff, whereas this is. So I'm this sort of creative muscle is a little rusty, so just warming it up a little bit. I'm just looking for interesting shapes, interesting alignments, ways to maybe somewhat or more than somewhat defeat the obviousness of the images that I'm working with. So sometimes flipping them over. And yet still harness some of what's interesting about the shapes. Now I keep coming back to this one as being interesting in and of itself. And I keep wondering about maybe aligning these edges of the gray background of this photograph with the red, whether that's interesting or not. Some things can be too clever by half. Sometimes they can be really interesting. So just you have to try them and see what you think. And different folks will have different ideas of whether that's a good idea or not. All right. I feel like I need a bit more background to play with. Trying to dust away my little negative. Cherie says she's playing with 3 historic photos she copied from the last boarding port of the Titanic in Cobh, Ireland. Ooh, very cool. Jane says, I think it's very hard to talk and work at the same time. I can't usually do it. So silence can be just fine, Gal. Oh, thanks, Jane. Ricky Saunders, take zinc and wear a mask. I'm definitely wearing a mask now because I've got something to spread. And definitely taking my vitamin C drinks with zinc in them, which definitely helps a lot. So thank you. Love the color combination, says Annie. Gray, black, red, white. Yeah, it's simple and powerful. I like those simple, juicy ones. Abigail says she's keeping things simple. I posted a few negative space bottles on some posted or pasted a few negative space bottles on some jelly print backgrounds. Probably on pasted, right? Yeah. And Cherie Ricola says, don't forget to like. Yes, thank you. That would be awesome if you guys can like it. It just means the stream, that is, the YouTube stream. Always looking after my better interests. Thank you, Cherie. Let's see if I have like a burgundy. I feel like that and the red, the brighter red and the duller red might be interesting, or darker at least. See better on the bright red somehow. All right, so because I am driving myself a little, not driving myself crazy, but I haven't glued anything down yet, and I think I just need to commit to something, and so I'm gonna commit to a few things and just go with them. So I kind of like this girl upside down, and I kind of like her legs coming to the edge like that, cropped where they were. And then I thought I would I actually am, who knows whether I'll stay this way, but I kind of like her upside down, and I also want to defeat some of the face, so I'm gonna fold her under fold her head under it, just take the eyes, everything from the eyes up out of the equation. And so I'm going to make an element, and then I'm going to make some background, and I'm just going to start playing. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And even if it doesn't, it serves to get me going, right? But I know myself well enough to know that I can endlessly move things around. So I just have to commit to at some point and tell myself it's only paper. It's first collage in quite a while, so it's just a case of get it going, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe she's cut a little bit, not straight at the where the legs are cut off. So what I'm going to do is paste her down, and then I will trim it to get them lined up. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Like that cut at the legs wasn't quite straight because I probably was just slicing her out of the magazine. So since it shows a little bit there, I'll just trim a little bit more off now after I fold her. Oh, I didn't get it quite. I wanted to have the eyes not show, but again, I could trim that off too. So there are always ways around things. All right, that's sort of the more of the look I was looking for, and since I missed with her eyes, I want her eyes out of the equation, so I'll just trim them off as well. That's kind of a fun piece just in and of itself, this strip with just the eyes. There, that's my minimalist collage. But you never know, that little sliver may find its way into something else. It may even be a component in this one. Who knows? All right, let's just, I don't need to keep this piece on the back necessarily. So, Abigail said, sorry, I posted them on the Facebook. Of course, that makes sense. Yes. So I'll definitely check those out, Abigail. Thank you. Kathleen says, this is the first time I've searched for images solely based on negative space. It's a great exercise. It is, isn't it? Because it makes you immediately aware of it. And sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. And sometimes you see maybe the image itself doesn't have great negatives, but it has the potential, if you recrop them or reposition them, to have great negatives. Jane asks, I'd like to know how I and others store collages they've started but haven't finished but want to get back to. Kathleen says Ziplocs. That's a great idea. I have a few things, ways of going about it. Sometimes they're just on my desk, but I have like, and Ziplocs are a good way to sort of contain the pieces you might want to use. I also have like stacking sort of like inbox trays in my studio, and right now I've got collages that are on the go, several of them in there with the pieces that I might still need, and so that I can come back to them. But that only accommodates a certain number of them. I also have a box of called collages in progress, and those are collages that may not have extra pieces in them, and maybe older. Like sometimes I go back to old collages and like, yeah, this never worked, but I didn't throw it out because it was it still had interest, and so then I'll come back with fresh eyes and try again. But I don't have ideas, so it's a case of like what new ideas might I have? The ones that are sort of hot and on the go are in those inbox type trays. Cherie says those jelly print background bottles are so painterly. Great effect, Abigail. And Jane says, duh, but of course, thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Like the Ziplocs, if you can have them big enough, and you can buy bigger Ziplocs. It's great because they're all the pieces are there, and you just have to dump them out, and you don't lose the little pieces, right? So, Cherie says some of them I leave on my drawing board so they can taunt me. Yeah, they sometimes do taunt one, don't they? If I really am committed, I press them between the glass sheets of a floating frame. Others, large dollar store Ziploc bags. Yeah, perfect. Abigail says, leafing through the LCBO food and drink mag, I'm getting very hungry and thirsty. Yeah, that's that is a hazard. We are influenced by our materials, aren't we? So, Kathleen, I was just thinking about what you were saying about hunting for images, looking for negatives, and how that has struck you. I'm curious, are you, I know you do a fair bit of painting, but are you doing more collaging these days? Let me know in the comments, because that's kind of cool if you are. Or is it just sort of like cross-training? Because, it doesn't have to be one or the other. I often think of collage is a really good cross training for painting because it helps you work in different ways, see different things. So it's by no means an either or situation, is it? But just curious. kind of feel like sometimes the commitment just has to happen, and that's when you commit and then things start to happen rather than the opposite. Like people, I think, well, it's just a lesson I have to learn over and over again because I knew this. But I was thinking about how long I was moving stuff around and not gluing anything down. And then I just decided I have to glue something down or I'm not getting anywhere. This one I just bumped up, so I'll try that again. Oh, I'm going to go with it anyway. And I think our instinct is work until you're certain, or play until you're certain, and then commit. And I kind of think commit and before you're certain, and then it'll go better. And so something I say in my classes sometimes is ready, fire, aim. Like you can fine tune it and figure out what it's about afterwards, but you have to do something for there to be something to respond to, right? So so here I've got glue gunked up on this edge on this paper, rubbing some of it, and then I'll just like, all right, well, I guess that means I have to put something there, so I probably will. But one of the thoughts I had already had was that it'd be kind of fun to have their foot here, like her legs are going off there, and then the foot comes back over here in the negative. Whether that's what I'll do and what I will actually do or not, I'm not sure, but kind of fun. I'll look for her positive legs too. If I can find them on my desk. Always a question. May not have that option. They're the positives of the legs. I think that's more boring though. Well, maybe not in this way. So here I'm looking at negatives in terms of the negatives I'm creating by placing the positives. No big surprise. It's kind of fun. Maybe is it more fun if it does this? I think no, because I think then it's excuse me. All right, I thought I'd see what you guys are saying here. So Abigail says she puts them in journal books. So by entering like, what do you do with collages in process? And that's good too, right? Because you can fold in, keep track of any loose pieces in between the pages, as long as you don't drop the journal. And Kathleen answers my question. I've been taking Rosemary Vanderbriggen's Friday afternoon Zoom classes for 2 years. Health limited by my stamina for painting. Yeah, fair enough. For 3 years. Collage at my desk allowed me to express my art urges again. Yeah, it's awesome that way. It can be very, of course, it can be very messy, but it can be contained, right? You can sit. I like the scale of working. You don't have to stand up to be at an easel or whatever. So it's really convenient, and it's actually great for travel or if you have limited energy, because it often works really nicely at a small scale. So yeah. And let's see, Lisa says, joined from the PNW US. Thanks so much for hosting. It was great news. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch you. So is that Lisa Kemp, or no? Lisa Kemp, you've got a different handle. So we've got 2 Lisa K's then. Lisa K, welcome aboard. That's awesome. Did you comment earlier? Sorry if I missed it. Awesome. Welcome aboard. Yeah. So where is the PNW? I don't recognize that. Cool. And then you said, oops, it was a great break from work. Oh, great. I'm glad. Yeah, awesome. Cherie says, I've been playing with a series of miniature collages where images move in and out from the frames of old slides. Ooh, love that. Calling it Kodak moments. That's awesome. Cherie says, all original slide images were transferred to JPEGs long ago, right? No memories were harmed in the making of the art, right? Yeah, so you're just playing with the slide frames, which is great. Joy said, I used a series of large envelopes labeled by theme, and for small pieces, keep in a small envelope which goes labeled with I'm having trouble reading this comment, Joy. Sorry. I used a series of large envelopes labeled by theme, and for small pieces, keep in a smaller envelope with those goes labeled goes again in the large envelope. Right. So they go in. Yeah. Lisa M says, love the last boot location. Yeah, I've been moving them around forever. Sorry, I probably moved it again. So, but thank you. I'm glad you liked one of them. Yeah, I like this one. I like this one, sort of aligning on that. So yeah, there are a few there are a few in play right now. So oh, and Abigail helps out saying PNW is Pacific Northwest US. Oh, that's so awesome. So cool. So welcome aboard. That's great. Philippa says, thanks, Cal. Just packed up 2 boxes and knickknacks while watching and listening. That's great. That was the one, Lisa? Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. I like that one too. So we'll see. We shall see. See which one gets glued down. And it's always a challenge trying to figure out what goes where. That's collage, isn't it? Right. But what sort of alignments I like. I'm always looking for interesting alignments of edges, of how things connect. And obviously in this instance as well, I'm looking for negatives. Like, are they going to be interesting negatives? So for instance, that then sort of seems about the same size as that one. So if I move it further like that, then it's this one's smaller, this one's bigger. So I like that better. And I like this kind of skinniness there. So whether or not that stays there or not, I'm not sure. But see what else we've got here. That's pretty much it for that pose. Again, that's the trick with the poses that have the similar simple outlines, that you don't get as many pieces to work with. So I may bring someone else into the picture and just see whether this girl comes in or not. Oh, I've lost my boots. Where did my boots go? There they are. Because I'm looking up this top part, and this happens sometimes. Like I really like this thing where they line up, but I'm also looking up here and thinking maybe less is more, and maybe something like that, possibly with the boots coming in from the other side so that it's kind of like she's going. You don't know whether she's coming or going. That might be enough. And whether it stays right side up, upside down, or right side up, I don't know, but I'm going to flip it and take a look. And then is it better to have this hand in here or not? That's another question. Like this hand, obviously that hand's in there. It's glued down. It'll have to get covered over, which you could. Sometimes getting peeks of things is more interesting than getting the full view, right? So that's kind of fun. And then maybe the legs will come in from the other side. If they're longer, I mean, I can't crop them, but yeah, it's something sort of predictable about her being right side up, though. So she may end up back upside down. Or I may end up composing the whole thing upside down and then switching it at the very end. So, but I realize in all my prevarication and testing things and talking about things that we're getting to the end. I can't believe it. Time always flies when I'm collaging and when I'm spending time with you guys. So, Lisa, the vertical placement. Okay, Lisa, gotcha. No, I do. There is something great about the vertical placement. Like whether it's down here in whatever relationship, but there's something fun about the repeating and like it's like wrapping around. But there is something that's great about that or that. Right. So, yeah. So I will continue to play with it and hopefully I'll get somewhere and end up posting it. So I'm just going to, again, yet another virtual collage jam where I didn't finish a piece. But I've got some ideas and I've sort of blown the rust off a little bit. So I'm going to switch the camera around. So just bear with me for a second. And so that I can sign off properly. So see you guys. And Lisa said, sorry, I just caught the end of the session. No, that's awesome, Lisa. You caught some of it, right? And you can always watch if you're so inclined, you can always watch the first part on YouTube after the fact, or you can just catch the next one, right? Life is busy, so catch what you can. I hope you did a little bit of collaging while we were working away, and yeah, just it's all good, right? A little bit, a lot. Collage, don't collage, hang out, Work hard, whichever you like, right? So yeah, no rules, restrictions, right? So Jane says, I posted 2 quickies earlier and now I just use things like flowers, books, and the outside. Look forward to seeing everyone's work on the Facebook page. Yeah, that'll be great. Cherie says, thanks for the inspiration and conversation. Nothing negative about today's session. Awesome. We had a positive negative space experience. Let's see. Abigail says, thanks, everyone. Have a great week. Joy says, thanks, Kal and everyone. Great to be back. It is great to be back. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for making this community what it is, everyone. It's awesome. Abigail says, hope you feel better soon, Kal. Yes, I've got my decongestants working on my behalf. So that will get me through the install for Kim, I hope. And colds come to stay. They or come to pass, not to stay. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it'll go away in good time. Val says, thanks again. Didn't get anything done, but still good. Yeah, exactly. It's still like it all counts. It all counts, right? Did you just think about it? Did you listen? Did you participate in the chat? Did you just chill? Did you make collages? All good. All good. Lisa Kemp says, thanks, Kal and everyone. Great to be back. Kathleen says, thanks. Judy says, thanks. Yeah, for sharing your creative process and time. Oh, it's a delight. It really is, guys. So thank you so much. And our next one is the week after. I'm just going to get my calendar in front of me because I don't know the exact date. But it is the week after Thanksgiving because next week we're installing, then it's Thanksgiving Day. So it will be the 16th of October will be our next jam. And the theme is, so next is on October 16th, the theme is Angel, and that's stolen from Inktober. And Inktober is like drawing, but I thought, well, what about like inking with ink and collage? So if you have any drawing and collage ideas or ways of collaging inked things, put your inking cap on and see what you can come up with. And I will see you on the 16th. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. And I'll see you on the Facebook page. Keep on collaging and take care. See ya.